I want to talk about the way that you name your wines. Of course, Sula comes from your mother's name, but many of the names are deeply personal.
Absolutely. So that's another, remember I was talking about the design, and naming is another thing that, I love doing. So yes, Sula is named after my mother, Sulabha. Rasa, some people say it's named after me, Rajeev Samant. The Source,
which is, right?
Could say, but Rasa also means the essence, it means the juice. So there's so many other things that it could mean. So it all comes together very well, and we'll just leave it a little bit cloudy. The Source, we decided to name our resort at Nashik, the Source, because it was the source of all good wine in India. That was the place. And then we decided to name the wine after the Source. Beyond, because you really feel like you're going beyond, leaving behind all the stresses, beyond all the stresses of everyday life. That's been a big hit for us as well. So I do enjoy definitely the naming. Madera, one of our wines, was the name of my freshman dorm at Stanford. So that's how come Madera. So,
when you were at Stanford, did you think that this would be life for you?
I went as a good Indian boy expecting to be an engineer, I must admit. But very quickly realized that I preferred the arts, I preferred literature, and I preferred history quite often to engineering. So at some point, by the end of it, I suddenly realized that I probably wasn't going to be an engineer, even though I joined Oracle right afterwards. But I quickly quit. But never did I imagine in 1,000 years that it was going to be wine.
Except that it is, and that's how it's turned out to be. The sun is shining on Sula and the wine business. How did the logo come about?
So we wanted a very Indian feel to our wines. We wanted to say we are proudly Indian. You had a couple of guys before us producing wine who were very French in their outlook. They had very French sounding names, or their tagline was French vines, French traditions. We said, no, we are not French. We're making wine in India, and let's be proud of it. So the sun is a very proudly Indian sun. And then we were the first to write on our front label, Produce of India, big and bold. So that's the way we did it. And we really struck a chord back then. A lot of people said, are you sure? And I said, yes, we're going to do this. And in fact, that's the way it's turned out. Dindori, which is a very famous wine of ours, our Dindori Shiraz is possibly India's #1 premium red, is a taluka of Nashik district. That was something, that Kerry Damsky, our our advisor, Californian advisor, said, why not name it? I must credit him with this. Why not Dindori? And I said, yeah, actually, that has a nice ring to it. So, those kinds of things, we've been very proudly Indian since day one and continue to be.